right, so it is booktube while driving. Everybody else is doing it, so I thought, why not jump right in? I am on my way up to the annual Guys Golf Weekend for Father's Day. I've been doing this for years now, and normally I would be singing to Van Halen badly at the top of my lungs along with the radio, but instead I thought I would shoot a booktube video because I am cool like that. So, it is Lisa C's The Island of Sea Women. It's about the Haenyeo of South Korea. The Haenyeo are women free divers found on the island of Jeju, off the southernmost tip of South Korea. They've been doing this since about the 17th century, when the king at that time conscripted most of the men of the island to his army, but he still demanded his tribute of abalone, so the women had no choice but to take to the sea, and they've been doing it ever since. As a result, Jeju Island is what you would call a matrifocal society. The village chief might be a man, but for the most part the women take to the sea and earn income, while the men stay at home and take care of the children. The women, the Haenyeo, the divers, are a physiological marvel. There is not a single human on the planet that has better tolerance to hyperthermia than these Haenyeo. That's subsided over the years as they've moved to wetsuits, but for a time, just incredible. These women are diving year-round. The Haenyeo are a bit of a dying breed. It makes sense. It's one of those things that gets passed down in generation to generation. And like farming here in North America, there's not too many women that wanting to take up the mantle. It's dangerous work. It's hardly glamorous. And this is South Korea we're talking about. There's economic opportunity everywhere. And so, as of 2014, I think 98% or more of the remaining Haenyeo are over the age of 50, some as old as 80 or 90 years old. So UNESCO, in that same year, deemed them an intangible cultural asset. And the government helped subsidize the continuation of the Haenyeo by paying for their wetsuits as well as subsidizing their healthcare. Anyway, in this environment of near-future feminist dystopias, I am all on board for some kick-ass women divers, especially considering it's based in South Korea. All in, and can't wait to dive right in. Well, first things first, let's find out a little bit about Lisa C. C is not really a common Korean name. If anything, it sounds Chinese. So I decided to look her up, and holy crap, Lisa C is straight up white woman. She looks like the type of lady that hands out pencils at Halloween. I mean, she thinks clam chowder is exotic. Am I supposed to cancel this? Am I gonna have to start a Korean tweet storm and get outraged? I know BookTube loves itself some drama, so I don't know, something along the lines of appropriation, hashtag, own voices. But turns out Lisa C is lovely. I had a chance to meet her when she came down to do a reading at our local library in promotion for this book. She talked about when she first got the idea for this story, sitting in a doctor's office, looking through the magazine, and coming across a single paragraph talking about the Haenyeo. And because she's that woman, she took that page, ripped it out, and saved it for later. In the ensuing years, she would write several critically acclaimed novels focused on China. Now, if we're going to talk blood quantum, she is in fact 1/8 Chinese on her paternal great-grandfather's side. But when she was ready to write this story, she drew on her journalist background and did the research. She went off to Jeju Island, talked to the women divers herself, put the time in, and it shows, but more on that later. So at its heart, this is a story about female friendship. When the book opens up, we're introduced to Yun-suk. She's 85 and has survived all the hardships and the dangers of being a Haenyeo. The Haenyeo have a saying, every time a woman enters the sea, she carries a coffin on her back. And so from there, we slip back to 1938 when Yun-suk first meets her soon-to-be best friend, Mitra. And I'm all here for that story of warm female friendship, and Lisa C tells that story beautifully well. But like I said earlier, she's done her research, she's spent time on the island, and she's talked to those ladies. And so she ups the ante in this story and talks about how this friendship survives in the aftermath of the 4-3 incident. The 4-3 incident refers to April 3rd, 1948. The peninsula has been divided into North and South Korea. There's a rise up of insurgents on the island of Jeju, revolting against the U.S.-installed government at the time. And this insurgency was brutally suppressed. No one has exact numbers, but some say around 30,000 Koreans were killed. This is about 1 in 10 islanders, although some estimates have it as high as 1 in 4 islanders. And Lisa C has done her research, and she explores the incident itself. And this is what trigger warnings are for. It is brutal. It's not a long, protracted scene, but it is breathtaking how brutal it is. So be forewarned. But it also gave me an idea of Korean Han, this national sentiment of anger, resentment, and the feeling of being wronged. In the aftermath of the 4-3 incident, families were doing whatever they could to ensure their own survival. They were marrying their daughters off to soldiers. Meanwhile, insurgents were killing entire families of police officers. There were mass executions, and people were brutally tortured to give up the names of their neighbors who are now insurgents. And the relatives of these victims and perpetrators not only still live together on the same island, they may in fact live in the same village. There's an article that I'll link down below where they talk about old villagers still remembering who killed who. Well, then the massacres were swept under the rug, stricken from the record, kept quiet. Slowly, Jeju became a tourist hotspot, known as the Hawaii of South Korea, better known for its tangerines, lava rocks, and golf courses. And that's changed in recent years, with the government acknowledging some of the atrocities that happened in the aftermath of 4-3. And so now, many Korean tourists visit Jeju Island so they can crawl through the same caves insurgents hid out in. They can visit the site of mass graves or visit the Peace Park, where at the museum they can see some of the horrors that happened during the incident. Now, I've never been to the Peace Park in Jeju, but I've been to my fair share of museums, and Koreans, they take no small delight in showing off the indignities they've had to suffer, specifically during the Japanese occupation. I think this leads into a lot of that Korean Han. Anyway, I didn't know anything about the 4-3 incident before reading this book, so I appreciate Lisa C. writing about it and letting me discover a little bit more on my own, and to understand a little bit more about Korean Han. I was born and raised here in Canada, so if we have a national sentiment, it is more apologetic courtesy as opposed to seething resentment. Like, we're sorry to the Golden State Warriors for the subsequent NBA championship win of the Toronto Raptors. Although, being a Canadian team, I guess it gives us a nice easy out to decline a subsequent Happy Meal McInvite from the White House, should Trump extend it to the NBA champions, as he has in the past. Anyway, I'm nearly there at my destination, so I'm going to cut it short. Looking forward to a weekend of golf and hanging out with the guys, although it does not look like the weather is going to cooperate at all for us this year. We're going to have to make do as best we can. Anyway, this worked out pretty nicely, I think. We'll see how the editing goes. This could be a complete disaster and unusable. I have no idea what the interior noise of the van is going to be like. Regardless, I'm babbling. I hope you all have a great week of reading, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.